Nooks and Crannies is an arts festival where artists create temporary, site-specific installations in downtown Okotoks. This art festival sees artists repurpose and animate forgotten places with forgotten materials, bringing public art to forgotten corners of downtown Okotoks. Individual artists and teams use recycled products to create installations that raise environmental awareness, animate spaces, and entertain audiences. This year the festival will run from July 18th to August 22nd. We'll have plenty of virtual tours to come. Today we're giving you a peek at some of the projects as well as a chance to hear from a few of the artists as they went about the installation process.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Stables, and this is my piece. I did 3 houses that are connected together, and this is kind of a whimsical, humorous take on current events, on the lockdown that we've all been experiencing. I reached out to people in the community to create some children and families to create portraits of either just themselves or their family, and they showed what they like to do during the lockdown. So she was at her cottage, she got to go floating in the water. I actually did this one. This is my sons and me with our hair, camping on their deck. These families like to get out in nature. In this family, her dad was actually home from work the whole time, so she showed her whole family together. So if we look at each of the houses and each window, you can see a different sort of scenario of what we've been experiencing. This was inspired by my son, who kind of struggled with home learning. Here he is kind of trying to get that math homework done. If we look down here, this is more of a self-portrait of myself during lockdown. This is my lockdown mom, or quarantine mom, and if we open it up, we can see her laptop here, and it says Zoom meeting at 2 o'clock, and of course snacks. Her daughter's looking out the window, and we see some mice kind of feasting on some leftover bread. She's this little girl looking out the window. She's kind of waving over here at the little unicorn. That's inspired by my other son, who's said one of his best days during the lockdown was when he got to stand on his deck and talk to his neighbor. If we look in the window here, we see Mom here. She's baking some bread and she's bringing it outside to cool. But if we look there, she's done a lot of baking, like myself. There's some bread and some cookies. Now this little guy here, he's trying to stay in shape during the lockdown, and of course struggling, because if we look in the background, we can see all those snacks that he's also indulging in. And he's watching Tiger King. Over here, we have this Yeti, and he is trying to cut his own hair. But if we look in the background as well, he happens to be hoarding some toilet paper. This is a neat feature of this little toilet. It's a lid. This is my dragon, who's kind of getting in the spirit of putting hearts out, just like they've done throughout Elma Street. So he's kind of meant to be adding to the hearts in the display. And then over at the last house, if we look at the top, we see somebody who's perhaps consumed a few too many conspiracy theories. So you see him in his tinfoil hat, and he's got his iPhone out. And again, we see another heart in the window. And over here is our gardening fairy. So she's decided that she would use her time in lockdown to take up gardening. And she's being responsible outside by wearing her mask. And I've actually recycled these ones from last year's display when I did bolts, and I had the community of that. So there's space down here if anybody wants to add a rock with a heart or a family portrait with a rock, then that's definitely a way that you can also be part of this.
I'm Evan. I'm John. And we're under the name Bill's Benevolent Association, and we're doing a little sculpture here just tucked away into the crevice of these 2 buildings. And we're super stoked to be able to kind of broach into something more 3D. We've done scenes and stuff before and little art prints, but this is kind of a larger thing for us, and yeah, enjoy kind of trying to find new spots of your neighborhood.
So this is my Spire Fountain, and I'm Lane Shorty. Yeah, so essentially it's a little fountain that runs off of the downspout, and it only runs when there's rainwater. So once it gets filled up, it'll come up the top, flow down, and this is all reclaimed. So these are little pie tins that I shaped into these scales. This is reclaimed cedar that I laminated together to make the bowl and the dish, and then some scrap pieces of wood, and yeah, it uses the water and creates a little fountain for the duration of about a month. So it's kind of like I guess it's like a water sensor. So if there's no water, it doesn't run, or if people want to fill it up, so it's kind of out of my hands. So it's all up to like where the water comes from. So it runs when the water is here, and when it doesn't, it just sits dormant.
Hi, I'm Dina Cabota, and I live in Okotoks. This is my first year participating, and I was inspired because I saw the festival last year, and I was really impressed by the work that was shown. So my piece is called I See You, and it's kind of a subtle reference to the peas that are inside the pods, and there's a little bit more detail listed on my sign over there, but it's made of Nespresso coffee pods and keys from keyboards and an assortment of different chords, and kind of a piece of jump wire that was given to me off the back of the trucks from the Parks Department.
Hi, my name is minowski, and this is my installation called Bloom. And this is a great big swarm of jellyfish that I created using all these plastic containers that I gleaned from the Okotoks Eco Center, along with bubble wrap that I cut into strips to make the tentacles, and this sort of styrofoam material. So these are all Okotoks jellyfish.
Hi, I'm Justina. This is my installation called Winsome. It's just getting untangled right now, so it will look a little bit different. It's made out of recycled materials that I found at the Okotoks Eco Center, as well as, or the recycling center, as well as thrifted yarn and other little objects. So yeah, I've got some noise makers. So the point is the wind coming and making songs.
Alright, so we're Candice and Carrie. We built our Recycle Monster Pete together, and so he's made completely out of recycled materials. We've used, obviously, like Folgers coffee cans and plastic bags and lots of flower pots. And we have warts on here that have other recycled materials. So lids for scales. Yeah, so people can come and bring their refundable cans and bottles to throw arrow in his mouth, and then everything will be donated to Hand Rescue Care.
This is my piece. I am calling it Fleeting Wolf. I do a lot of work with the Yamnuska Wolf Dog Sanctuary, artwork based on the wolf dogs there, and I like to raise funds for that organization, so I just thought that this would be a really great way to kind of share my passion for wolves and wolf dogs, and kind of bring it into a little bit different space, and to challenge myself to make something I've never done before. So this was a great project.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Woolman. I'm in Okotoks for the Nooks and Crannies Festival, and this is my art piece called Plastic in the Wind, using pop bottles and repurposed wine corks.
I'm Smika, and this is Michelle, and our project is the Kinetic Cube. The Kinetic Cube was inspired by the Spire Foundation's Eye for Youth program, which they've been posting on since COVID has started. And Michelle and I used this project in both of our teaching, and we found out about the festival, and we were like, let's make it, and let's make it really big. One of the things for the Nooks and Crannies Festival is to be interactive. Because of COVID, the Kinetic Cube can no longer be kinetic, so we decided to choose artists from art history to paint on the outside, inspired by, so it's visually interactive, almost like an art history quiz.
There are plenty more exciting Nooks and Crannies installations we did not have the opportunity to chat about today. In the coming weeks, we'll be highlighting individual projects, chatting with locals, and taking an in-depth look at the concepts between each of these artist choices. To check out the art projects yourself, download the festival map at okotoks.ca, and make sure you follow Culture and Heritage's social media channels so you don't miss out on all the content that's to come.